Well, awesome. We are on another episode, and my name is Joe Dietrich. I'm the co-host for today and helping LS to uh, do the show. And we're here talking to Carly Pepin, right? Did I say that right?
That's perfect.
That's perfect. All right. And you know what? This show is all about entrepreneurship and all things that talk about how we can excel, showcase the entrepreneurs that are out there and what they can do and how they can help you excel in your own entrepreneurship journey. And I'm just happy to be here. Thank you, LS, for reaching out to me. And I'm so honored to be on the show. Carly, you are on the West Coast, I'm assuming. Is that where you're from? Yes.
Yes.
And hey, prayers for you guys over there. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. But can you share with our audience, what you do? I've seen your background. You're all about mindset. You're an entrepreneur yourself. And just give us a little background about you and who you are to the audience.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. So looking forward to diving in. And I'm a business coach and I work with businesses, entrepreneurs to help them scale up their businesses sustainably. So we focus on people, strategy, execution, cash, and then the human behavior dynamic is really intertwined with all of that. So usually I'm working with the leadership team, I'm working with the business owner, the entrepreneur, just to help make sure that they're able to move forward each step, not have to deal with the burnout dynamics and making sure also they're feeling fulfilled, inspired, connected to their own mission, their own vision. And again, like you don't have to sacrifice your life for your business. So we want to make sure that they're fulfilled, unless business is your life purpose. And then it's not really a sacrifice. And I want to get you to do that too. So really just getting people to do what they love and love what they do.
Wow, you know what? That is so true. Being an entrepreneur, and there's other entrepreneurs out there. And if you guys are entrepreneurs or starting out a business, write down in the comments below, say, "Hey, entrepreneur," or share with everybody else, like, "Hey, yeah, I'm in the business. How long have you been in?" Now, Carly, you said some key things in there that I've seen in my entrepreneur journey as well. You said burnout. You talked about leadership and lead. I know leadership's a big deal, but burnout and leadership, it can go up and down the chain. Leaders can get burned out. Employees can get burned out. But in all the businesses that you've helped, well, I guess what would be like one of the key things you can help like starting out entrepreneurs to like say, hey, I've seen this to avoid burnout. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah. When you don't have to avoid it, it's just going to be feedback. Burnout actually teaches you. So it's going to teach you where perhaps maybe you have some misperceptions and or you're not delegating properly, right? So you might have some misperceptions in the sense where things that you're doing, I see this a lot with individuals, even in the coaching world, right? Where they'll be like, oh, how do you do that all day? You're just talking to people about their problems and stuff. And I'm like, I can't wait to talk to you about your problems. I love talking to you about your problems, right? Because these individuals who are getting burnt out from this dynamic, they're expecting certain goals at the end. And whenever you're a coach, it's wisdom to understand like we can go in and we can diagnose what's going on with the business, and I can diagnose what's going on with a person, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. Like there's a certain level of predictability that you have. There genuinely is, but all the little details along the way, nobody has that level of prediction. And so when we have these unrealistic expectations that we place on ourselves for something to turn out exactly, very specifically as a way a client wants it, which sometimes is not even the way that they want to go. You might even start working with someone and say, wow, this is amazing. Once we got in, like you really wanted to work on I've had this so many times. You really want to work on your business, but the truth is you really want to work on your relationships. Hey, do you want to switch gears, you know? And it's like then we dive into that next stage. And sometimes working on relationships, they understand they're not ready to be in a relationship. And it's like, well, what do you want to do next? And it's like, let's dive into business. Great, let's do it. Okay. And they don't even want to do it. Like they love and appreciate themselves because they're like, I don't want to do this. I just thought I had to. And I was like, you don't. What do you want to do? So I think that dynamic too is we can get burnt out when we put unrealistic expectations on ourselves. That's a really huge one. And then the other dynamic too is like if we're not delegating accurately. So if
Hmm.
you're sitting and you're doing all the things that you hate to do, which is actually bogging you down and not giving you the opportunity and the time to do the things that you love, you're going to get burnt out. And that's where delegation comes in. And it's like that's where we go and we find the individuals, and this is where leadership comes in, because this is fun. You could be the leader that finds the person that loves the job you hate. and then you get to help that individual like feel fulfilled every day doing what you hate, and you're doing what they hate, and all of a sudden like that's the perfect company, right? Like it's all fulfilled. And part of that is the leadership dynamic of being able to interview and understanding like individuals to a greater degree. As leaders, you definitely dive into human behavior. You become a human behavior specialist a bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't have a
Mhm.
choice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You just dropped some gold, and I hope people have caught this, right? Because it's the burnout is, like you said before, it was unrealistic expectations, right? And from what I'm when I was like, man, she's dropping some gold here. The unrealistic expectation is that you can. One of them is you can do everything, and what Carly is pointing out to you guys is that you can't do everything. You need to delegate. Now, okay, entrepreneurs, I'm pretty sure you can agree with this. Entrepreneurs are people that want to go, do. They don't want to be have shackles and everything holding them back. And when you talk delegation, that's like, oh, but I know I can do it the best. How can you help that individual? How can you help that individual, right? To realize the gold that is in delegation.
Yeah, you probably can't do it best. You can do best what you actually do best, right? So I'm a coach. I love human behavior. My best place to be is doing the one-on-one dynamics, speaking about what I know. That's my best place to be, right? But if you put me in front of a website, like it's just a nightmare. Like I am my own nightmare. And I just hate technology and doing that stuff. Whereas there's some people who can sit there all day and sit in front of it and just really enjoy themselves, and it's relaxing and it's nurturing for them. And so that's that thing. It's like, do you want me to sit there and work on a website for 8 hours? Because by the end of it, which by the way, I've done this before, probably fighting with my husband, I'm really cranky, I'm crying, I've been on the phone with tech support who's sorry, I probably freaked out on you. And just like it is what it is. Like it's just so stressful for me. And I probably had like a breakdown on the phone. Or do I just disconnect from that, give it to someone who loves it and appreciates it, and then I invest all my time coaching my clients, doing reach outs, doing sales calls. I love sales calls because it's a connection point, doing podcasting, things like that. So when you look at your day and you break down your day, like what I really suggest is breaking down your day into all the tasks that you do on a daily basis. And then you look at that. And here's where the real kicker is, because if I put your hourly rate there, right? I could put your hourly rate on that little sheet for every task, and we could see how many hours you spend. And then you see how much would it be to actually delegate it. And you'll find that you're wasting a lot of valuable time because the cost of delegation is not as much as the cost of your time. And you could go out and invest that time to create that level of income at a higher level, which pays for the delegation in the first place. And the cool thing is if we really think about it, it's not that we can actually do it better, right? So if I just hand over my website to an individual, I can't build the website better, but I could put the vision behind the website for my company better than he can. So all I'm really doing is I'm basically getting better at explaining things, right? Breaking things down, explaining things, asking quality questions, going back and forth and doing corrections. That's where I'm going to shine in that project, but I'm not going to shine doing the actual technological part, not because I couldn't figure it out, right? Nothing wrong with you guys, but it's because I really don't like it, like a lot. And it's not worth the impact on my physical, my mental health, my husband's mental health. Like, let's not do that to him anymore. So yeah, that dynamic is like, all right, so who can I delegate to that really loves it? And I do have someone I work with, and he's amazing, like at design, and I just give him the things that I want. And he creates beautiful things, and I've been just so grateful every time he creates something, like so grateful. And he's good at it. Like he's good at it. So why would I want to take that away from that individual? So basically it's cool. Like part of a leader is you get to pay people to do what they love to do. It's
Mhm.
fun.
No,
Yeah.
that's gold. That's gold. Because I know I have my entrepreneur background, my military background, and I had to learn a great deal about letting go of certain projects because it bogs me down. It steals my energy when I'm not doing what I do productively. What we would like to call an entrepreneurship. What is your money making area of doing things instead of time wasters that steal your time, steal your money making ability? Because, like you said, Carly, you like connection. getting with the people, getting talking to them, connecting them, seeing what they actually need. That's your I guess genius zone, like some people like to say. But I like Carly. I like for you to share with the audience too. Like, where can they find you? What's your website? And then what was the thing that got you into this vein of entrepreneurship? I mean, what was that catalyst? Because everybody has a catalyst.
Yeah. So you can find me at westcoastgrowthadvisors.com. And the catalyst, I started entrepreneurship when I was young. So I was 18 years old. And my parents kind of witnessed me. I was ditching school to go to work. So I wasn't enjoying school and I went to work instead. And I just was working at a surf shop. They made me manager. They put me in charge of like a lot of stuff. They had no idea I was ditching school, by the way. I totally lied to them. They're like, you watch so many movies. I was like, I know, it's crazy. But they were great. They taught me so much. And so what they witnessed is I didn't know what I wanted to do in school. They witnessed that I wasn't enjoying the educational system, but that I was really, really thriving in this business practice. And I was going to work like, 5, 6 days a week. So like sometimes seven if they needed me. I was really having fun. And so they offered me an opportunity to start a business. And they said, it's going to cost just as much for you to go to college. Like, why don't we just help you try to start a business? Because I had been doing some other stuff on the side. I've been making skincare. So we tried that. It was actually really fun. That was my college experience in a sense. I totally failed, obviously, because it's my first business. Of course I failed. Like, it totally bombed. Didn't have enough info. I can see now, like it was definitely the marketing and like the branding that I had the gap on. So that's been a fun new study. And it was cool though, because it taught me so much. And after that, I went to work again and I just started getting into companies in a sense where places where I could work my way up because I didn't have a college degree at this point. And it was cool because then I became like an entrepreneur in the company and they would give me little divisions to build, right? Like little divisions within these companies to build. And that was really inspiring as well. So again, now like I'm an entrepreneur within a company, but now I was playing with, their money instead of my own. And I got to learn a lot more because now what's really cool about corporate companies is now you have like more teams, right? So if I didn't have something or I didn't know something, this is the delegation component. I got to go to different divisions and ask for help and assistant and get questions and all this fun stuff. Really taught me to delegate doing that dynamic. And then, yeah, I just remember one day being like, why am I not doing this on my own? Like, I keep building businesses for people. I was like, why am I not doing this like on my own, like as a consultant? And that's when I decided to transition, and again, just studying more, finding like really applicable, like time-tested tools and systems and processes that work, right? And I think that's the most important thing. I like to say it's like whatever we're learning, it's like find the origin of where that comes from, right?
Mhm.
Because then if you study the origin, it'll be a more concrete form. All the stuff that people are repurposing it into is amazing. But when you find the original form and you study that as well, the newer forms that you're studying will be far more impactful. And that's definitely something that I've learned as well, is like make sure whoever you're learning from is like learn from the original owner too, and then whatever you get is like 10x, guys. It's like 10x.
Yes,
Yeah, for sure. Because there's a
that's
lot of
amazing.
great things out there.
Now, I like to touch on this because you said your first business, you failed at it, right? And there's people out there that they had an idea, they had a dream, or whatever the case may be, and the failure came. So, I mean, what was that thing that I guess kept you going, even though you encountered that failure? What was that thing that just kept you driving and going forward?
Yeah, I really liked what I was doing. Like I really, really liked it and I enjoyed it. I would say the only like when we transitioned, it was when, we're not really seeing a lot of movement happening. And then I wasn't enjoying it as much. And at that point, I was like, all right, I want to give myself permission to really like dive into this other industry. And again, I look back at that and this was before, I mean, we have chat GPTs and AIs and Google and all this stuff. Like, I had no idea how to find things back then or search or like even where to look in a library to like find the right book. I didn't even know what my gap was, right? Where now I'm like, it's branding and marketing, specifically branding, marketing. We were great at sales, but the branding and the marketing. So it's kind of like now, present day, we can really diagnose our businesses to a greater degree, but then also find the answers. Like even ChatGPT is amazing in the sense where you can ask it to ask you questions to diagnose your business, see where the gap is. And then now we can just go online and find individuals and books and, courses and all these different dynamics to really help us get to the other side. So it's a
Mm,
different world for entrepreneurship. There is a lot more opportunity and a lot more education to really be able to help us launch. The challenge that comes with that is there's a lot more people who can do it, so you got a lot more competition, definitely. So yeah, those are the dynamics where it's like really when you fail at something, if you really want to move forward, it's like what would be the actual next step and utilizing all these tools we have to figure out where you can go. Right.
mm,
The other dynamic and aspect of it, it's really important for you to do something that you genuinely love, like that you really, really love. And so I mean, I love what I do. I love what I do. If I fail at it, which, it's a business, of course I'm failing and I'm succeeding and it's just a normal way of life, right? But when I fail, it's not like, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm broken. Like this is bad or wrong, or I shouldn't be doing this. It's more like, oh man, what is my gap? Like, and I might get off a sales call and be like, I bombed that sales call. Like, what just happened? And I'll get on the phone with a friend and laugh and be like, I just bombed it. Like, I bombed it so hard. And I was like, and I'll talk it out and we'll look for the gap. And, we just have a giggle because it's like, that's life. Like, that's normal, and even if something like goes awry, even if I'm working with someone, I'll come back and say, hey, I had a gap. Let's correct this. We're going to go back. You're not getting charged for it. Let's work this out.
mm.
Because that is the natural order of business is there's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that you miss or, you don't like catch fast enough. And that's life. That's life. And so it's really more if you are doing something you love, it's not about your own pride. It's not about looking amazing. It's not about looking like the best of the best because the best of the best make mistakes. So if someone's like sitting out there putting forward that they never mess up, they never have challenges, they never make mistakes, run. Like just run.
Mhm.
Like they're lying. And that's super dangerous because
Yes, it
nobody can
is.
ever live up to that. Nobody can live up to that. People fight, they argue, there's conflict, there's chaos, there's all these different dynamics. I love the people and I work with them the most, the ones that actually understand that that exists, embrace it, and just work out how to transform it.
Mhm.
And then we just move on. And that's really truly like the entrepreneurial journey is it's going to be all those different dynamics. You're going to realize how much you don't know the more that you grow.
Come
Yeah.
on, come on. That says a lot. And I like you said an important word too in this last phase. You said you had to give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. I think that is a big deal because um, in failing and chasing your dreams,
Mhm.
a lot of times people don't give themselves permission to pursue that dream or that idea because they've heard in the past, well, you're not smart enough. Oh, well, you know what? We don't, our family doesn't do that, things of that nature. Um, so what in your life? I mean, did you have to learn this about giving yourself permission? Did you have a mentor or a teacher or a coach like yourself? Or was this something that was just already internally in you to give yourself permission?
Yeah, so I feel like so when I was a kid, for sure, I had just series of events that I perceived challenging that just really made me not want to do what I didn't want to do. So that is a very stubborn part of my nature that can be very frustrating at times, but also it's the part that's like just do it, like, and then it might take me a while sometimes, but I'll move forward in it, right? And so it kind of was like a push for a really long time. But then I had the opportunity to like meet coaches and mentors who helped me to learn how to do that without having to have like that great of a push, right? So now it's like, oh, I can see that I'm not giving myself permission to do this. And now, because of the human behavior dynamic, which is why I wanted to learn it as well, is I understand why we get blocked, right? So why we get blocked and why we're not actually giving ourselves permission to move forward. And a huge part of it is our comparisons. It's
Mm,
our comparisons, it's our fears of outside opinions, it's our fears of the outside authorities and what we're gonna like, what's gonna happen as a result. Sometimes people don't want to speak because they're like, oh, what if someone criticizes me or says something, and it's like, you're gonna get criticized. You're gonna get criticized if you don't do what you want.
Yeah.
You're gonna get criticized every day anyways. You might as well be doing something you want. And let's just work on the criticism so it doesn't hit you that much anymore. Like when you actually receive it. Like let's help you be criticized and not have to like feel as much like pain with it, right? Like let's get through that. So it's like, what is it that would be holding you back? What are the fears? What are those different dynamics? Who are you comparing yourself to? I had a client I just worked with who really wanted to move into like this new job and new sector and more of an executive position, but they're comparing themselves to these specific individuals, which actually was just holding them stagnant still, and they weren't taking any action. And it's like when we clear that comparison and they connect with who they are, all of a sudden all the little puzzle pieces started to fall into place. And then a job opportunity came to her that like was the perfect thing that she would be really inspired by. So it's like, let's clear those comparisons so you could also give yourself permission to not live in someone else's shadow and go be yourself.
Hmm. Man, you're just dropping some gold because I know one of the things that held me back for almost 15 years was just like the fear of criticism, right? And the thing is, like you said, you're going to get criticized anyway. So
Okay.
you might as well just go for it and see what happens. And then I think also the criticism that people think they're trying to avoid is the criticism of themselves for not even trying.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I had that idea, and then 10 years later, oh, this guy or this gal, she's running with my idea, and I should have done. Just go for it. I totally agree. We are in a land of opportunity here, especially with AI resources. I mean, there's tons of people out there giving free stuff. I mean, YouTube, I mean, all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
go for it. But I think it's important because Carly, you're a coach, right? That people that want to go to the next level in their life need to seek out people like you as a coach. And then you talked about it earlier. So what are some of the benefits of someone like reaching out to you who's an entrepreneur and saying, "Hey, Carly, how can you help me out, help a brother or sister out in
Yeah. And
as an entrepreneur? Can you share with us what that's all about?"
for sure. And I think this is like the thing that I love about the coaching dynamic is as an entrepreneur, it's like, what do you really want? Like, let's just go through what you really want. Let's get the specificities of it. So we're going to understand your vision. We're going to understand your unique life purpose. We're going to see how that's playing out in your business. And then we want to put a strategy together with it. And we work on all the mental blocks that you have along the way. So part of that is it's like don't have the unrealistic expectation to do it on your own all the time. Like I do this for a living and I have a coach because everyone has roadblocks. Everyone has blind spots. I'm going to be talking to mine tomorrow and I was like I know I want to work and get here and I was like but I'm really struggling to seeing like what is driving this challenge. I was like I'm struggling and I was like so I'll tell her, I was like, I want to find the root and I want to clear it. And I'll get on the phone with her and she'll be able to see what I can't because she's going to notice the patterns and all these things that basically, like, I'm not actually tapping into because I'm so used to it. I'm blind to it. Right. So that's the thing, too, is like, and I remember when I first started, I thought you shouldn't have one if you're a coach. Like, you should have it all together. And then I realized it's way off, man. That was like bad advice. It's terrible advice. The person who gave that to me that it is more powerful just to be able to get through those blind spots by having these people on the other side. And it's cool too because it's like when you hire someone, it's finding the person who specifically wants to help you get that like thing that you want. So with entrepreneurship, it's like, what do you want in your business? What do you want in your life? We're usually combining the two together because you are a whole human being. You're not just like a business, like you're also a human being outside that business. So usually we're like tag teaming both of them simultaneously just to create a fulfilling life. And we just do what it takes. So every day you wake up and you're like, yeah, I got this. I love my life. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to move through these fears. I'm going to move to the next steps. Because the goal is like, I don't want people to pass away and be on their deathbed and say, I regretted not doing this. Like, I want everyone on this planet to think about the things that inspire them and move forward. And if there's fears or anything that's blocking you, like, yeah, it's just not worth it. It's not worth holding on to. We have one life, one
Yeah.
life. And even if there's reincarnation, you never get this again. You are never you again. Never, never. This is it. This is all you got. You got to make it. Yeah.
Yeah. What you're saying is so key because the Michael Jordan, everybody knows Michael Jordan. He had multiple coaches, right? The gentleman that played Hannibal Lecter, man, I keep on forgetting his name, but he's one of the greatest actors. You know, he can sit there and act any whatever. He had like five coaches. He probably still has coaches to
Yeah.
help him to be the best actor he could be. You know, speech coach, everything. So, and then I have like different mentors myself because you need people that understand. Well, for me, you know, I have a spiritual mentors, entrepreneurial mentors, just inspirational mentors that I reach out to, and even co-coaches that I lean on myself because you know they coach, we coach, and we have to encourage one another. So that's just a wonderful community to be in. Anthony Hopkins, that's who it is. Yes, Anthony Hopkins. That's like I just remember that one movie he did. Um, so, LS, please let me know if I'm running over time and if there's any questions that I haven't asked. So, Carly, if you had to talk to your 18-year-old self, okay, who was skipping school and I got no, and you had to give her, I like doing this on my podcast. I like asking people if you could go talk to your 18-year-old self and say, hey, Carly, this is what you need to know right now for your entrepreneurship journey and to pursue the dreams that you want to. What would you like say to her to give
Yeah.
her some encouragement?
Basically, your life is perfect as it is. Everything you're doing is on the way. Nothing's missing. Keep doing you. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's real good because I know when and I can relate because when I was younger, I always thought I was missing out.
Totally.
And when you're thinking that you're missing out, you're looking back instead of looking forward to the opportunities that are set before you.
Yeah.
Um, One last thing, you talked about doing what you love. What does that mean for your clients when you tell them to do what you love? And if you find out that they're not doing what they love, how do you like kind of get them back on track to that?
Just get them to stop it.
Yeah.
And then we're done. I'm like, don't do it. So basically, we can really tell and diagnose this in the sense that on a daily basis, if you're feeling fulfilled, if you're feeling inspired, if you're lit up, if you look at your day and you say, like, I get to do these things, like it's really challenging and it's going to be a hard day, but like I really get to do these things and I'm inspired by it, right? And it's still challenging, it's still hard, then I know that you're focused on things that are inspiring to you. But if every day you're waking up and you're like, oh, like I don't want to do this, you're procrastinating, you're putting all this stuff aside, I know that there's some level of burnout, you're disconnected from what you're doing. And so you can really diagnose and see it's like, oh, well, I've been wanting to do this and I've been setting this New Year's resolution every year for the past 5 years and I haven't done it once. And I'm like, because it's not important to you. So let's find out what's important to you because I want to see what you have been focused on, and your life will demonstrate what your purpose is. So this is the dynamic where you don't have to find anything. Nothing's missing. Every day you invest your time. You don't procrastinate on these things, and it's usually part of your natural rhythm. So you discounted it a bit. You discounted it, but it's part of your natural rhythm, and it's things that are fully and totally inspiring to you. And it's things that even if you're tired, you basically will start doing them and energy comes, right? Like that's another thing to pay attention to because you could be really tired and not like skip other things. You'll skip other things, but if you're really tired and energy comes to do these things, I know that that's something that's meaningful, right? And then I think the other interesting thing is like even the financial component is what you invest your money on. So when we think about like how you're investing your money too, it's like I can look at your bank account and we can break it down, and everyone spends their money in a different way. And people who spend their money in a specific way are going to spend it on the things that are most important to them. Like it just is what it is, Like personal development's like one of my top highest expenses. It's just that important to me. And it's like, yeah, it's like that's just what I want. I want to live it. I want to breathe it. I love it. And so it's really paying attention to all these things that you're demonstrating in your life are already fulfilling, already inspiring. And building a life they love is actually being able to craft and cultivate a life around that, right?
Mhm.
So let's say I didn't want to be an entrepreneur, right? And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I'm not inspired to have a business, but I love personal development. What can I do? We have a client who, when I say we, when my husband and I do workshops, he comes to our workshops and he decided he loves personal development so much. He built a personal development division in a multinational corporation, right? Amazing. And he was the one who launched that project. And now he has like this whole personal development thing where he brings in speakers and does events and all this stuff. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur. I chose this path because I like this path, but he chose that path because he likes that path. And so now every day he gets to wake up and he's involved in what he loves. That's it. And so it really is that simple. So it's like, how do you create that dynamic, whether you're building a business or you're actually like working in one that you can move into these components of every day you wake up and you say, I get to do this. Like I really get to do this. You're not like frustrated. You're not gonna like hesitate. You're not gonna procrastinate. Like you get to do these things. And that takes some self-awareness. It takes the deep dives and it just takes also consistency and making sure you dedicate your life to that. It also gets very easy to say no to distracting things because people will come to you. And if you have time to do something, usually you'll just say yes. But if that time is going to impact all these really inspiring things you have planned for the day, you're like, no, I just can't. No, no, it's not my time is not negotiable. So, yeah, you become very clear on your yeses and nos because your life's too inspiring to give up.
Wow, 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 wow. No, that's good. I like that because sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? You're describing how you can have like an entrepreneurship mindset, right? Within a company that you're working in, but you don't necessarily want to be an entrepreneur on your own. And you can bring ideas within the organization that you're in and say, hey, look, can we create this other part of the business that will actually be a force multiplier within the business, help the business to grow and expand and to be more efficient by creating this self development portion of the company. And I love that. That's a wonderful and out. And you might have been in my brain because I was like thinking about that as we were talking earlier. I was like, but what about if somebody wants to be an entrepreneur and they don't necessarily want to start? Don't you brought it out? So that is super awesome. That is super awesome. And how can someone like in a company actually do that? Because I know some companies, and this goes to that dynamic about leadership and culture and everything else like that. Let's say somebody does have an idea, but the culture isn't there. I mean, how would you help the leadership to like cultivate that?
If I'm working with the leadership team, I'll be cultivating that on the back end for sure, where people can bring things forward. There's a collaboration dynamic, there's communication within the teams. So that would be something if I am working with the leadership team, like I'm definitely going to be working to bring an overall dynamic of the culture improving, right? So that's just something. But if you are working somewhere and you don't have me or anyone else like helping the culture in the background, then it's like maybe it's not the best place for you to work. Like if you're unhappy and you can't move forward and create that dynamic of what you would love, you can also leave. Like I've worked with clients who they really want to grow, like, and they have places that they're working, and I'm just listening to this and I'm like, this person wants a challenge. They want to move forward. They're not allowed to do anything. They're not given like a certain level of autonomy. And I'm like, they're out of here, man. I was like, they're not going to stay. But then they find a company where they're allowed to do those things and they're very pushed to grow and they like it. And it's not like they just moved to a place that's easier. In fact, that was too easy for them, right? So if it's like, if you really like the dynamic, it's like you could find the places that have the cultures that you're really inspired by. And that's remember, it's when you're in an interview, don't forget to interview the company as well. Sometimes we get so nervous that we're like, oh, I need the job. I have to get the job. What if I don't get the job? But you might actually get in that job and you didn't interview the company. And then you get in and you're like, this is my nightmare. Like, this is not what I wanted. Now all of a
Right.
sudden you're on another job hunt where you can avoid it by just like asking them quality questions as well. So make sure that you're also working somewhere that you would love to work, that you want to stay, that you are inspired by.
Hmm. Man, I love that because John Maxwell, I remember I went through some of his trainings and stuff like that. And he said, and it stuck with me, he said, culture will always defeat vision.
Mhm.
You can have a great vision for your company, but if the culture within that company is horrible, that company's not going to move forward.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah, and also he also said there was the law of the lid, which is like if there's employees that want to grow, but the leadership is not there, they're going to be hitting a lid all the time, and it's just going to cause stagnation. People are not going to be happy. They want to leave, and like you said, if you have people like if the business closes at 5 o'clock and people are like at 4:59, like they're like in a runner stands ready to hit that door as soon as 5 o'clock hits, there's a problem.
There's a problem.
There's a cultural problem,
Yeah.
So no, I love that you tackle those issues because that's a lot of the hidden issues that go on with companies is culture. And they just look at the bottom line. What's our mission? What's our bottom line? Do we meet our quotas? And it's good to be driving, but if you're driving people to run out the door, you're making your numbers, but people don't want to stay. You have too much turnover in your hiring and firing. That's not a good deal. Before we head out, Carly, can you share with us again? I know you said earlier today what your website is, and then for all of our listeners out there, I guess what's on your heart for the listeners out there for today, and give us your final speech.
So it's westcoastgrowthadvisors.com, and truly, like, nobody is more special than any other person on this planet. Like, that is just, there's no such thing as that. I know it's hard to believe, but I can, if I spend enough time with you, I'll give you factual evidence and make you certain. So when I say that because it's like, just find what you would love to do, build a life that you love. We really, truly only have one life, and it is very, very, very precious. So it's like really treat it that way so that when you do get to hit that day one day where you have, you're on your deathbed, you get to look back and say, I did everything I could with the time I had, and I lived the life that I wanted to live. Like, it's a different feeling, and yeah, it's a different experience. So like, yeah, give yourself permission to do what you can to have the journey that you're most inspired by, for sure.
That's awesome. And you know what, Carl, I can feel the heart that you have for your people and who you coach, who you client, and the passion there. I'm glad that we were able to have this interview with you. And I know LS is, and that we just got more than wisdom on the porch. This was just like heartfelt coaching at its best, in my opinion, coming from you. So,
Thank you. Yeah, this was inspiring. I appreciate it.
LS, thank you for having me as a guest host, and I appreciate Carl you coming on too.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom on the Front Porch with your host, Ellis Kirkpatrick. You can find us on our website, wisdomonthefrontporch.com, see previous episodes of the podcast, and view issues of the magazine. Did you know you can submit questions, leave reviews, or suggest topics? You can also tell us where your favorite front porch location is and what it means to you. We hope you gain value and insight from today's or previous talks. We appreciate your support for us so we can continue to provide value and expertise to you and others. Subscribe to Wisdom on the Front Porch magazine and join in next week when we bring you another great insight into the world of entrepreneur culture and lifestyle. Make today a great day. Always believe that something wonderful is going to happen.